Hello, and welcome again to Set the Record Straight with Lana Lane. I'm here once again to tell you stories on the air about how you've been wronged by the judicial system, just like I have, and so many of my friends. This one is called Falsely Accused and Jailed for It. I was falsely arrested in my home. I was not on probation, nor do I have a criminal record. The arrest was January 11th, 2002. I was in my home cooking dinner. My son was asleep, and I was cooking with wine and drinking some too. My son had previously not been sleeping well the nights before, so I was trying to relax and take advantage of him finally resting. He was 11 months old at the time. The Tulare County CPS caseworker said that I was held in jail for 5 days. I never went before a judge. I was denied release or a phone call. I would not sign DCFS agreement agreeing to terminate my parental rights. They also made it up that I had a mental health issue problem, stating that I would not pick up my child until I and CPS meet an agreed upon plan. This is clearly malicious criminal intent to keep a child away from his mom, as well as coercion, forcing mom to sign document without giving her any options. The caseworker wrote this plan out before even meeting me because I was in jail the day of the initial agreement service plan. I was forced to sign both the initial and subsequent follow-up documents at the same time in order to be able to see my child, and I had to sign them after I was released from jail. Also note, Tulare County CPS made my son's father sign an agreement that he would file for sole custody of the child before they would release the child into his care. Although the initial plan stated that DCFS recommendation to the court was no reunification for mother or father. This is just one of many lies by DCFS, CPS in court case documents and used by court by DCFS to keep a child in adoptive foster care under California Civil 300 Code. In the first court date, February 29, 2012, reports by LA County DCFS social investigator. The investigator lied and stated that I was charged with a felony for child endangerment from the arrest. They conveniently left out the status of the police report, which said that I was detained and released due to lack of sufficient evidence. There was never any case. I never saw an attorney nor a judge. There was never any felony charge at DCFS stated to the court. The arresting officer, Officer Gray, told me that he personally used CPS to successfully avoid a costly custody battle with his wife, Aubrey Gray, and that he was going to make sure I never see my son again. He then threatened to beat me with a billy club he brandished if I didn't hand over my son. While in jail on the second day, when I asked for a phone call or when I was going to see a judge, they told me that I wasn't. That I had already been charged for felony child endangerment, when in fact there were no formal charges. They published lies in the local newspaper, discrediting my character and shaming me publicly when there was never any crime. My son was taken from me for 14 months while I had to fight CPS lies to get him back. 14 months he was in foster care. I have completed 3 family service plans. It's been 2 years now, and my son is 2.5 years old. I have no history of drug abuse. I test twice randomly for drugs and alcohol. I've had to attend AA twice weekly, complete outpatient drug treatment program, see a drug counselor and licensed therapist, and have to have a psychological evaluation and attend parenting classes. I get visited weekly by social worker and having parenting in home once a week by Family Home Preservation. I finally got fed up with all of this nonsense, and I voluntarily took a 3-hour lie detector test and passed. Then I finally got my son back. Wow. The things that they will go through in order to take healthy, well-adjusted children from their biological parents for no reason. I remember when it happened to me, I felt like I was the only one that they was doing that to. I have mixed feelings about these stories because they're all so sad, but it's almost like I can relate to all of them. This one is a 2-parter. The first part is called, and don't laugh now, because it's kind of cute. It's called Stinky Winky Bear. Hi, Elena. First, I want to start by saying you are doing an amazing thing helping people get their stories on the radio. I was just in Ohio, Astoria to be exact, for a nursing assignment. I travel all over the country for my job. It's a shame I didn't get to meet you while I was there. Anyway, here's my story. I had been in a tumultuous relationship for almost 2 years when I became pregnant with my son Blaze. I left the relationship many times, but my ex-boyfriend and domestic partner, Michael Mostak, kept terrorizing my family. He was doing things like trying to run my mother off the road while driving next to her car, trying to run me over when he saw me walking down the street, calling my brother-in-law's job and making accusations that weren't true, and many other insidious things. My brother-in-law was suspended from his job for 2 weeks, while Philadelphia Gas Works looked into the accusation that he had attempted to rob Mostak's house when reading his gas meter while doing his route. All because he was putting my family, because of all he was putting my family through, I went back to him. I remembered the old saying, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. And in this case, that couldn't be any truer. After moving back with him, I had just played the game until I could plan a good escape without him involving my family. Little did I know, I was already pregnant, but it didn't matter to him as the violence got worse. Mostak threw me out of a moving car on a major highway at 24 weeks pregnant and left me there. The New Jersey State Police took me to a hospital in Philadelphia, since that is where I'm from. I went into premature labor and almost lost my son. When my son was only a month old, CPS in New Jersey took my son right from my arms while I was breastfeeding, because Mostak locked me out of the house and wouldn't let me get inside to feed the baby. The cops came and let me in to breastfeed my baby, but they also called CPS. My son was in CPS for 11 days. I called the governor of New Jersey, James McGreevy, several times a day for the longest 11 days of my life. There is a reason I told you this portion of the story. Now I'm going to jump to the corrupt part. Michael had a hunch I was plotting to leave him, and he repeatedly told me if I did that he would take my son and I'd never see him again. Well, the day I decided to finally leave, he called me on the phone and threatened to kill me. The brigantine, New Jersey police, had already been called and were at my house. An officer answered my cell phone when he called, and Michael said, "Tonight, I'm going to kill you." The police arrested him. At his hearing, the judge gave me temporary full custody of our son. Michael had supervised visits on Sunday only. During a supposed supervised visit, Michael's sister took my son. Then the two went to the Atlantic City Trump Casino and let Michael see him on a Friday. That was the last time I saw my son. The brigantine police again were called, and I showed them my custody order. Instead of calling an Amber Alert, they told me the situation had to be handled by the courts. And the police did. All the police did was call his cell phone and tell him to bring back the baby. Instead, weeks later, Michael sought after the Philadelphia Assistant Deputy Sheriff, Barbara Deely, who was 14 years older than him. He started dating her and led her on to think he loved her so. He started dating her and led her on to think he loved her so he could get to adopt my son and use her authority over the judges to terminate my parental rights. Well, it worked. Michael lied to the Philadelphia courts that we had been living in Philadelphia all along so that New Jersey would give Philadelphia the jurisdiction over the custody case. I fought for 4 years, and Barbara Deely had Judge Olszewski terminate my parental rights on January 1st, 2010. I know this for sure because 2 months later, Barbara Deely came to my house and confessed that she abused her power to have my parental rights terminated. She told me not out of concern for my son, but because Michael had been cheating on her the entire time she informed me and had broken up with her the weekend after the hearing. I told her that she had to do the right thing not only for my sake, but also for my son's sake. Due to the physical abuse she confessed Michael was inflicting on her son. To this day, she still has not confessed to the courts or the sheriff's and mayor's office that she had abused her power by manipulating the courts and insidiously terminating my parental rights. And the judge gave not one good reason. It has been 7 years since I have seen my son, and it hurts more and more every day. The courts were aware that Mostak had held the SWAT team at bay in 1997, and also that he was a domestic violence perpetrator. Since I applied them with approximately 36 police reports. They were also informed that Mostak had 6 restraining orders against him from women throughout the Philadelphia and New Jersey cities. The family court judge, Nina Padilla, who was handling the case before it went to Judge Olszewski, took herself off the case because she was involved in a corrupted case. Padilla was good friends with Mostak's attorney. Thank you so very much for reading my story. And if you do put it on the air, could you let me know when so that I may tune in? I really appreciate what you are doing, and I'm sorry that I made it so long of a story. Sincerely, Audrey Schlimbach. Here's why Stinky Winky Bear is a two-parter. Because this is the story behind the story of a child author. You can actually buy Stinky Winky Bear on Amazon. This is the inspiration for Stinky Winky Bear. You'll actually find this on Amazon too. A tragic incident, the kidnapping of my son Blaze by his father in 2006 when he was only 2 years old, led me to write this book. I had full custody of my son in New Jersey at the time, while his father had supervised visitation due to a long history of domestic violence. It only took one time with someone I thought I had trusted, and my whole world was gone. Stinky Winky Bear came from the name of a song in which I had made up. I used to sing it to Blaze every night at bedtime. He loved that song, which is why I decided to turn it into a children's book. I anticipate the day we may reunite, and I can read it to him, and that he may find comfort in knowing that this book was written just for him. With proceeds from this book, I would like to open a domestic violence awareness center here in Northeast Philadelphia to make women aware of the dangers when planning to leave their domestic violence perpetrator. With much awareness and preparedness, what happened to me may happen to fewer women. This is inspiring. Very touching. I admit I haven't gotten a chance to read the story myself of Stinky Winky Bear, but I did have the pleasure of meeting the author. Well, that wraps it up for another one of Set the Record Straight with Lena Lang. Y'all be cool out there. And remember, God bless.